Welcome to Raising Consciousness with me, Lou Burrows, where raising human consciousness happens. On this show, I'm joined by guests to cover a range of topics and have conversations that will raise human consciousness for current and future generations. Now, let's dive into today's show. Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Raising Consciousness with me, your host, Lou Burrows, if I remember my name. And today, on the podcast, we've had a late change, okay? A last minute switch. I'm not going to go too much more into it. Just so you know that today's topic was not planned for today's episode. So bear with me as I, because it's a last minute change. I do have my notes and everything, but it's a last minute change, right? So I wasn't expecting to share this, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited to share what I'm about to share with you today, because I am. I'm really excited to share the topic for today, and inspired also, especially with a lot of learnings and lessons that I have learned from my own life around this topic. And this topic is forgiveness, okay? Today on the show, we are talking about forgiveness. Now, I guess that I first really started to understand the art of forgiveness last summer. So it's only been, in the last 12 months, when I took a program on the Mind Valley platform that I so often go back to and reference, that has been instrumental in my personal growth during the past 18 months. I took a program called the Life Visioning Quest by Dr. Beckwith, okay? I'm going to link Mind Valley down below. I'm going to link a little bit about Dr. Michael Beckwith down below as well. But I felt at the time, I felt an intuitive impulse to take this quest, and it attracted me to it because of the title, right? Life Visioning. And at the time, I was going through a process of wanting to create a new life vision, and going into it, that's what I thought it was about. And it is about that, but it's about it from very much of a deep, more of a deeper place, ultimately. And that sometimes that when we're creating a new life vision and we're trying to move forward, we have these blocks, and that one of these blocks is that have we truly, first forgave ourselves for choices and decisions that we've made in the past, and we're holding on to them, but also people, events, situations in the past that maybe we haven't truly forgiven, and it's going to be very challenging or difficult to move forward if we're holding on to these blocks. And I've definitely experienced this in the past 12 months, and even obviously before that, but obviously in the last 12 months became very much more conscious around this topic. So today's topic is all about forgiveness, and I want to kick today off really with forgive, forgive, and why, why should we forgive, and this is one of the foundational understandings that I got from this program, this question, that since has completely changed how I view the world. Now, that doesn't mean that that I always apply this and then always, because sometimes the ego mind takes over. You get into what I've now learned is emotional contagion, where in a situation or in an event there's lots of emotion. Sometimes you get drawn into that, which is why practices such as meditation and calming the mind and connecting back with nature actually as well, it's good to take you out of that emotional contagion, right? So again, what I'm about to share with you, I'm still applying to my own life, but it was such a breakthrough moment for me, which was that actually one of the foundational reasons around forgiveness is because everyone, including myself, including you listening to this right now, is operating from the highest place of consciousness that we can in that moment, and we're doing the best that we can in each moment. Now, for some of us, that might be difficult to comprehend and understand. Maybe you're in a relationship or people around you and you feel like they're not doing the best that they can in that moment. But for them, and where their state of consciousness is at in that moment, they are doing the best that they can in that moment. And this was just like, when I heard this, I was like, wow. And I was like, true. Like, it just felt so true to me, because up until that moment, we have formed beliefs, understandings, ideas, perspectives, from every single event, every single occurrence, everything that we've learned in our lives up until each moment, right? So, and the moment is for me, we're always in a particular moment as well, right? So if I kind of put that into a little bit more of a perspective of like, each second is also a moment, right? So in each second we go by, we're operating from the highest level of consciousness that we can based on everything that has gone before. So if right now I learn something new, that's added to my higher state of consciousness. Well, that's added to my level of consciousness and can help me to grow and improve and move forward or stay where I am, right? I shared a little bit about this in the last episode, right? It's probably come up in different episodes as well, where I'm talking about relationships and how, we're all, again, operating from the highest place of consciousness that we can and doing the best that we can in that moment based on every single event, thing we've learned, belief, the list goes on that has happened in our lives up until that particular second, right? That particular moment. And if you think about it, like, that's always evolving, that's always moving forward, okay? Now, with this understanding, this doesn't mean that we can't improve, form new and better understandings to be more awake, right? To be more aware of everything around us. So I don't want, and this doesn't give people a reason or really an excuse to, let's say, deliberately make mistakes. If someone's listening to like this right now and was like, oh, I could use this, I could use this. Next time I do something wrong about sorry, I'm operating from the highest level of consciousness that I can. Even in that just shows where that person's level of consciousness is at, right? If they're thinking in that way. So we're always operating from the highest place of consciousness that we can, and that's the fundamental thing in this. That doesn't mean that we can't improve, form new and better understandings to be more aware, right? To move forward, because then at the end of the day, that's growth. So this doesn't give us a get out clause. This doesn't give us an excuse almost to again, like, make mistakes or mess up ultimately on purpose, whether that's it within our careers, within our work, within our vocation, whether that's within our relationships, whatever the situation is. It's the end. So the foundational understanding is that we're operating from the highest place of consciousness that we can in that moment, and that we are therefore to improve upon that to form better and new understandings of the world, and ultimately that is growth. The how this then links to forgiveness is that if we truly understand that, then while we might feel emotions and feelings when people hurt us, we aren't so much like hooked onto them, okay? Because if we hold on to grievances, upset, anger, negative emotions, and feelings onto our hearts, right, onto our soul for what someone did or what someone didn't do, then at the end of the day, that's hurting you more than them. Because again, it goes back to that fundamental point that we're doing the best we can in each moment and operating from the higher place of consciousness. And I just feel that once we truly understand this concept, then forgiveness becomes easier. I'm not saying it becomes the easiest thing in the world. I'm saying it becomes easier because we then also move into a higher state of consciousness and awareness on, okay, so this person has hurt me. I'm like feeling these emotions, these feelings. I'm not going to hold on to that, because what this person did or didn't do is based on it's more actually based on them and their life and how their life has unfolded up into that moment. With this, it's really about the understanding of it, And then once we understand it, we can show up in our relationships, whether that's, again, a work relationship, teammates, etc., or a personal relationship, a love relationship, whatever it is, with just the awareness. And I think with a lot of these ideas and concepts that I'm learning and then paying forward, I'm finding that it's a lot of the time it's the awareness of these fundamental truths that these fundamental truths that help us to lead better, healthier, more happier and fulfilling lives. So that then we can become more conscious and more aware moment to moment. So if we are applying this, let's say somebody hurts you in some way, rather than holding on to the grievance and the upset and the anger and the negative emotions on your heart and your soul, which again is only hurting you, it's not hurting somebody else. Like, you can't necessarily truly feel what somebody else is feeling, although I am tapping into another program on Mind Valley that's all about kind of intuition and that world. But I guess what I mean by that is, like, you're not in somebody else's world. You're living your life, and while we have emotional connections to really fully get and understand and live and be in somebody else's shoes 110%, given where human consciousness as a collective is at the moment, we haven't developed the understanding or the awareness that is even possible, right? So as we are right now, we don't live in somebody else's world 110%. We live in our world, and then we have these connections to people. So again, you might feel what somebody else is feeling, but you're not truly living in their world. And I feel like it's only when you get the full picture, it comes back to the fundamental point of forgiveness, right? Which I have came then to understand, is that when we understand that we're all operating from a higher place of consciousness, we know that they're doing the best that we can, and if the best of what somebody else has done, right? Because they're operating from that higher place. If that's their best, and that their best has still hurt us, then what else can we do? That's one of the fundamental things here, that's coming to me. It's like, so they're operating from the highest level of consciousness that they can. They're doing the best that they can do, and they've still hurt me in some way. Oh, like, I now need to process these feelings, process these emotions, and communicate that back. Like, I understand, like, you're doing the best that you can. What you did or what you didn't do is still hurt me, which then is also a feedback loop to the other person. Then, from my point of view, we can hope that they would learn and grow from that to elevate in their state and level of consciousness. Again, going back to the feedback, learn, grow model I shared with you in a few episodes ago, which really what it all comes kind of back down to, actually. Like, instead of holding on to these negative emotions and feelings and grievances and anger, when somebody just hurt you, it's about sharing that with them in a calm and composed manner. Like, sometimes we need to go in and kind of really reflect on that, and why that situation, why what that person did or didn't do has hurt us. Come to a place of, actually, I forgive you because of the understandings that I'm sharing with you today. You're doing the best that you can. You're operating from the highest place of consciousness that you can. Give them feedback on how this is still made you feel or contributed to how you're feeling, so that they can learn and grow as well. And that's and that's obviously like the ideal, or one of the ideals with this, the ideal situation. It doesn't always happen like that. But even within that, again, it comes back to the fundamental principle, one of them that I've learned over the past 12 months around forgiveness. If you give them feedback, but they don't go away and learn and grow from that, they are operating from the highest level of consciousness that they can. Like, maybe they have a very fundamental belief, a negative fundamental belief around learning new things, and they possess a fixed mindset and not a growth abundant mindset, right? And that block is keeping them from taking the feedback and learning and growing from that. Again, as I mentioned beforehand, we don't truly know what somebody else is fully experiencing in their world, because we're not in their world, we're in our world. And in our world, all that we can do is to be the best people, the best human being that we can be, and to share love and kindness. And when people do hurt us, is to understand what I'm sharing with you today. Come to a place of forgiveness because we understand everything I'm sharing with you today, and support and help other people around us to grow and learn. Is there a point in time where you might make the choice and make the decision to leave, ultimately, leave the people around? Maybe you've done all that you can to help them to grow and evolve and learn. Of course, we all in our own lives make choices and decisions that help us to grow and evolve, and especially if it's around toxic people that are really dragging us down. We can understand this concept, right? We can understand this concept. Well, they're operating from the highest level of consciousness. That doesn't mean that you can't walk away, because you always have a choice. I think what this enables and helps us to do, this fundamental understanding, is to walk away with love and kindness, because we understand where we understand more that they're doing their best, rather than walking away from a relationship or a person or a situation because we have anger and fear based on what somebody else did or didn't do. And that's also something to bear in mind. Ultimately, we all have choices and decisions. And again, I feel like this understanding has been such a major one in the past 12 months for me. And it's helped me to actually have more compassion, more empathy for others. I think that's what this understanding allows us to do, is to have more empathy and compassion. As I shared, you can have empathy and compassion and still make the choice of the decision within your own life to walk away from someone, to go in a new direction. I'm kind of repeating myself now, but I want you guys to understand this. But you're doing that from the understanding of love and kindness, because of this fundamental understanding, and not from other negative emotions. But just some other quick final thoughts on this, because what tends to happen is we can walk away from a relationship or a situation with feelings of fear, anger, guilt, resentment, etc., which again is holding on to. They're holding on to us. They are damaging us, and they're actually damaging our health actually. And every part of us, these feelings, these emotions on our heart, on our soul, is hurting us. It's not hurting anybody else, right? And that's what tends to happen. We walk away with these emotions, with these feelings, and we haven't truly forgave them. And what I'm saying is to truly forgive people, because you understand that we are all operating from the highest level of consciousness that we can. We're doing the best that we can in that moment. That doesn't mean you have to even really accept the situation for what it is. It means that you forgive the other person based on this understanding, and you can make the choice and make the decision to walk away, to go in a new direction from a higher place, from a frequency of love and kindness, again, with this fundamental understanding. So, guys, that's what I wanted to share with you in today's episode, all about forgiveness and the underlying principle that we are all operating from the highest place of consciousness that we can in each moment. And again, that isn't a reason or an excuse to make mistakes or anything. It's the truth, based on our conditioning, based on everything that's happened in our past so far. Our past and everything that's happened in our lives, as you're listening to this, has made you the person you are today. That doesn't mean you don't have a vision for how you want to grow moving forward, and to direct your energy on the person that you want to grow into and allow to emerge through you, because that's also life, right? It goes back to one of the last episodes I shared with you, right? The three purposes of all human existence, and growth was one of those, right? Growth was one of those fundamental pillars, because we are designed to grow. So I highly recommend checking out that episode as well. I'll link it all down below. And again, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you got value from this episode. And hit me up on Twitter at @RealLukeBurrows with your thoughts around this episode, around what I've been sharing with you today, around forgiveness. And if you believe that, if you feel that this can help you to forgive people in your life and forgive moving forward. I would love to know if this has helped you in that way. And if you're not on Twitter for whatever reason, then I'm also on most social platforms under the same username at @RealLukeBurrows. So you can find me there. Guys, I will be back I will be back for episode 25 really soon. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great one. Peace out. If you got value from this episode, found it insightful, or learned a thing or two, please leave a review where you can let everyone know that this show is worth checking out. I appreciate you so much. You'll be hearing from me in the next episode.